The whisper barely made it past her cracked lips. "They're coming, for my mom." Elijah Boone had seen war, watched men bleed out in dust and dirt, but nothing in his 46 years on this earth prepared him for the sight of the girl on his porch, barefoot, sunburned, wrapped in a wool blanket too heavy for October. She looked no older than 10. Behind her, the prairie stretched endless and orange, the sun hanging low, caught like a blister between heaven and hell. Elijah knelt slow, careful. "Who's coming?" Her eyes, wide, raw, flicked to the darkening line of cottonwoods by the creek. "Men. 3. Maybe 4. They want our land. Mama said they'd come if she didn't sign. She's sick. Real sick." Elijah stood, gaze sweeping the horizon. He hadn't spoken to another soul in 2 weeks. Since burying Belle, his last horse, his last friend. All he had now was dirt, a rifle, and silence. And suddenly, this girl. He let her in. Lit the lantern. Got her water. She didn't say her name, only curled up by the fire like a fox kit too tired to run. He watched the door, heart ticking like a loose spur. By morning, she was still asleep. But the wind carried a new scent: horses. Sweat. Men. Trouble. He stepped outside. South side of the fence, boot prints. For horses, no shoes on the hooves. Meant they were trying not to be heard. Outlaws, maybe. Claim jumpers, more likely. Plenty of those after the drought dried up old claims. The girl stirred when he came back in. Her voice was hoarse. "They want my mama's land, for the creek. We still have water." But she wouldn't sell. Said they forged the deed. Elijah set down his coffee, fingers drumming the tin. He'd built his ranch by that same creek. Knew the water was worth more than gold now. And if her mother was sick, alone, and land-rich? That made her a target. Easy pickings. He leaned in. "Where's your mama now?" The girl's eyes filled. "Hiding. North Ridge Cave. But she can't move much." He swallowed hard. That cave was a half-day's ride. And if those men found her first, he looked to the girl. Then to his old rifle. Outside, a lone crow screamed overhead. The girl hesitated. "Sadie." He nodded once. "All right, Sadie. You ride?" She shook her head. Elijah cursed under his breath, rubbed a hand over his unshaven jaw. He had one old mule left, barely more than bones and bad breath. Wouldn't get them far, but maybe far enough. He could stay out of it. Pretend she never came. But the law didn't come out this way. And those men, if they were who he suspected, wouldn't stop at threats. He pulled the rifle from above the mantel, checked the rounds. Loaded. Sadie watched with a kind of hollow faith in her eyes, not hope, just the faint recognition that maybe, just maybe, someone would care enough to try. By midday, they were riding. Slow, careful. Elijah rode ahead, Sadie wrapped in his old duster on the mule behind him. Dust clung to them like memory. The land was too quiet. Halfway to the North Ridge, Elijah spotted smoke, thin, distant, like someone lit a cooking fire where no one should be. "Camped out," he muttered. "Close to the cave." Sadie's grip tightened around his waist. "That's them." He veered them off the trail, through the arroyo, keeping low. He knew every bend of this land, had hunted elk here as a boy. There was a path up the back side of the ridge, steep but hidden. They made the climb slow, breath ragged, boots slipping in loose shale. At the cave mouth, Elijah raised his hand. A weak voice echoed, "Sadie." The girl slipped past him, running into the dark. He turned to stand guard. From below, the wind shifted, and with it came voices. Men. Getting closer. Elijah tightened his grip on the rifle. He'd made his choice. There was no turning back. Then came the sound he'd feared most, the click of a hammer pulled back. Right behind him, "Don't turn around, old man." The voice was young, cocky, stained with chewing tobacco and arrogance. Elijah stood still, rifle in hand, pointed downward. "You come up here alone?" another asked, closer now. Different accent, West Texan maybe. "Or that the girl I saw run inside?" Elijah didn't answer. The man behind him laughed low. "Ain't smart. Bringing her here." Elijah moved fast, dropped low, swung the rifle backward, caught the gunman's knee. The shot fired wide, echoing off rock. Elijah rolled, raised his rifle, fired once. The first man crumpled. But there were more. Shouts rose below. 4, maybe 5 total. He turned back to the cave. "Sadie. Get down." Inside, the girl huddled with her mother, a pale, fragile woman wrapped in old blankets. Her breathing was shallow, but her eyes sharp. "You Boone," she rasped. He nodded. "I heard about you. Thought you were dead." "Not yet." She smiled faintly, coughed hard. "Then don't die for me." From outside came another voice, smooth, too calm. "Mr. Boone. We know you're up there. We don't want no blood." Elijah stepped to the edge, rifle steady. "Then ride out." The man below smiled, rifle slung over one shoulder. "Can't do that. Lady has land. Land has water. That deed says it's ours now." "That deed's forged," Elijah called. The smile didn't move. "Maybe. But possession's 9/10. Ain't it?" From behind a rock, another gunman fired. The shot grazed Elijah's shoulder, hot iron tearing skin. He gritted his teeth, ducked back. Inside the cave, Sadie was trying to help her mother sit up. The woman held a locket, pressed it into Sadie's hand. "Give this to him if I don't make it." Elijah took cover behind a boulder, breath coming hard. He was outnumbered. Outgunned. And the sun was falling fast, soon, they'd have cover to rush the cave. His hands shook. Then Sadie crawled beside him, silent. She held the locket out, eyes wide. "You Boone," she rasped. He nodded. "I heard about you. Thought you were dead." "Not yet." She smiled faintly, coughed hard. "Then don't die for me." From outside came another voice, smooth, too calm. "Mr. Boone. We know you're up there. We don't want no blood." Elijah stepped to the edge, rifle steady. "Then ride out." The man below smiled, rifle slung over one shoulder. "Can't do that. Lady has land. Land has water. That deed says it's ours now." "That deed's forged," Elijah called. The smile didn't move. "Maybe. But possession's 9/10. Ain't it?" From behind a rock, another gunman fired. The shot grazed Elijah's shoulder, hot iron tearing skin. He gritted his teeth, ducked back. Inside the cave, Sadie was trying to help her mother sit up. The woman held a locket, pressed it into Sadie's hand. "Give this to him if I don't make it." Elijah took cover behind a boulder, breath coming hard. He was outnumbered. Outgunned. And the sun was falling fast, soon, they'd have cover to rush the cave. His hands shook. Then Sadie crawled beside him, silent. She held the locket out, eyes wide. "You look like hell," he muttered. Elijah grinned, bloody and tired. "Feel worse." Briggs looked toward the cave. "She the Avery girl?" Elijah nodded. "And that girl's her daughter." Briggs pulled something from his coat, a folded letter. "This came last week. Probate court out of Abilene. Confirmed the Avery inheritance. Land's hers, all legal now." Elijah blinked. She doesn't know. Briggs handed him the letter. Then you tell her. Inside the cave, Margaret's breathing was thin. Elijah knelt beside her, took her hand. It's yours, he whispered. The land. The creek. All of it. She smiled faintly, eyes shining. Then she's safe. She passed before sunrise, peaceful, hand in Sadie's. They buried her on the ridge, where the creek could be heard below, trickling through the stones. Briggs offered to take Sadie back to town, but she shook her head. I want to stay with Elijah, she said simply. So he taught her. How to mend fences. How to shoot. How to ride. She grew tall, strong, with fire in her eyes. Epilogue, 5 years later. A new sign hung over the ranch gate, Boone and Sadie, Creekside Ranch. The land was thriving. The water still ran clean, and some nights, when the wind blew just right, Elijah swore he heard Margaret's laugh on the breeze. He'd lost too much in his life. But now, with Sadie riding beside him, rifle across her saddle, he had something to protect again. Final shot, the sun sets behind them as they ride along the creek, dust in their wake, silhouettes framed in gold, a man and a girl who chose to stand when it mattered most.